how easily manipulated each personality type actually is. Being manipulated or lied to is certainly not a good feeling to experience. Some people are much more susceptible to the manipulation of others. Here is how easily manipulated each personality type actually is. INFJ. INFJs are often great judges of character and can sense when someone is not trustworthy. Their spidey senses usually start to tingle if someone is attempting to sway their opinion. INFJs are naturally skeptical people simply because they have witnessed plenty of untrustworthy individuals. They are often excellent at reading when someone is attempting to manipulate them and will not be capable of being pushed by that person. INFJs can sometimes struggle to read when someone they love and trust is manipulating them, though. Once they let someone into their hearts, they trust and love that person fully. This can cause INFJs to become susceptible to the manipulation of someone that they love and trust. ENFJ. ENFJs are definitely great at reading people and will often sense when someone is attempting to manipulate them. ENFJs dislike being around people who are shady and untrustworthy. They are giving and loving people, and because of this, they try to avoid people who will use them. ENFJs can sometimes become manipulated by people they love, though, simply because they have a hard time saying no. When the ENFJ cares for someone deeply, they do not want to disappoint them or let them down in any way. They will often realize when they are being manipulated by their loved ones, but will go along with it anyways. INFP. When INFPs are younger, they can often fall victim to the manipulation of shady people. They are warm and sensitive people, which can sometimes leave them vulnerable to deceit. They can see the good in others, but this can often leave them blind to the negative qualities of people. INFPs can be somewhat trusting of people, especially when they truly care for them. INFPs, as they get older, will likely develop tougher skin and will find themselves a bit more guarded and skeptical of others. They will attempt to only let the right people into their hearts as a way to protect themselves from any further hurt. INFPs are smart people and can often sense when someone is trying to manipulate them, but sometimes they go against their better judgment. ENFP. ENFPs can be somewhat gullible and easily manipulated, but at the same time, they have a natural skill for manipulation. They are good at convincing people of whatever they want to, but will likely not do this for long. The ENFP might play a trick on someone but will quickly admit that they were lying in that situation. ENFPs dislike feeling like someone is trying to manipulate them, but they might struggle to notice it. Younger ENFPs have a hard time noticing manipulation simply because they are positive and open people. As the ENFP gets older, they will likely develop a better sense of others and become less trusting of shady people. INTJ. INTJs are extremely difficult to manipulate and often are great at sensing when someone is attempting to sway their actions. INTJs prefer to make their own independent choices and require plenty of facts and data to be swayed in any way. They avoid people who will attempt to manipulate them and will likely cut those types of individuals out of their lives completely. INTJs are naturally skeptical people and will quickly sense when someone is trying to manipulate them. They will become angered by people close to them who want to manipulate the INTJ and will likely express their disapproval openly. ENTJ. ENTJs are naturally skeptical people and will not be easy to manipulate at all. They often have their guard up and will pay close attention to the intentions of others. They only want people around them who they can trust fully and who will not attempt to harm them in any way. ENTJs can often sense when someone is untrustworthy and will certainly not be swayed by that individual. ENTJs are very independent people who prefer to make their own decisions. They do not let the opinions of others push them in a different direction, which makes them rather difficult to manipulate. INTP. INTPs are often extremely skeptical of other people, which makes them naturally hard to manipulate. They constantly have their guard up and almost expect people to try and manipulate them. They have a hard time believing most people and will do plenty of research to back up whatever information they receive. INTPs rarely let people in simply because they hate feeling manipulated. INTPs do not want someone to make a fool of them, which often makes them untrustworthy of individuals. Instead of trusting someone and being hurt, ENTPs would rather keep a safe distance. ENTP. ENTPs are naturally skilled at reading people and are especially good at avoiding manipulation. They can often sense when someone is attempting to manipulate them and will turn the tables rather quickly. ENTPs might even find a way to manipulate that person back as a way to dish out some much-needed justice. They truly dislike when someone is trying to manipulate or push them in any way and prefer to make a decision on their own. ENTPs are independent people, which causes them to become rather frustrated by manipulative people. ISTJ. ISTJs are generally very skeptical, making them rather difficult to manipulate. They realize that people can be devious and will certainly not leave themselves open to this. ISTJs live their lives independently and prefer to make their own choices. They do not want other people to push them in any direction and will often avoid anyone who tries. ISTJs need people who give them space and who will not try to manipulate or deceive them. The first sign that someone is trying to manipulate the ISTJ will cause them to stop trusting that person entirely. ESTJ. ESTJs are definitely not easy to manipulate since they often avoid people who try to do this. They prefer to make their own choices and are rather independent folks. ESTJs are skeptics and dislike feeling like someone is trying to push them around at all. They will, however, be easily manipulated by someone that they love. ESTJs actually have a soft spot for their loved ones and can be swayed by their opinions or desires. If someone the ESTJ cares for wants them to do something, they might struggle to say no to them. ISFJ. ISFJs are very caring and loving people, which can sometimes make them easily manipulated individuals. They're warm hearts cause the ISFJ to be an easy target for shady people. They simply want to care for the needs of their loved ones and will do whatever it takes to make them happy. This desire to please others can cause the ISFJ to become manipulated by others. They can be skeptical of other people but are swayed when it comes to the emotions of other people. ESFJ. ESFJs are naturally good at reading the emotions of others and can often sense when people are untrustworthy. They are not easy to manipulate when it comes to most people and will avoid being easily swayed. When the ESFJ has developed an attachment towards someone, things quickly change. If they care for that person, the ESFJ can be easily manipulated. They do not want to disappoint their loved ones and will usually do whatever it takes to make them happy. They will even sacrifice their own happiness in order to care for the needs of others. ISTP. ISTPs are definitely not easy to manipulate since they prefer to be alone most of the time anyway. They dislike being around people who are manipulative or shady and will likely remove those types from their lives. ISTPs want to be around individuals who are honest and upfront and do not want to waste time with manipulative people. ISTPs prefer to live life in the moment and dislike being caught up in pointless drama. They would rather step away from people who have ill intentions and prefer to spend their time with people they can trust. ESTP. ESTPs are definitely independent people but can have a hard time when it comes to their loved ones. If the ESTP trusts and admires someone, they can often be easily manipulated by them. They do not find themselves easily swayed by strangers, though, and will likely sense when they are trying to manipulate them. ESTPs become rather vulnerable to the people they love and will have difficulty realizing when they are being deceived. ESTPs want to believe their loved ones and might have a blind spot because of this. ISFP. ISFPs are warm and gentle people, which can cause them to become manipulated easily. They prefer to avoid these types of people, but the occasional manipulative person slips through the cracks. When the ISFP truly cares for someone, they have a hard time turning them down for anything. They might find themselves falling into the traps of someone they love without even realizing it is happening. ISFPs are gentle souls can sometimes make them vulnerable to people who want to use them. They will eventually sense this behavior though and will find a way to walk away from this type of person. ESFP. ESFPs can be easily manipulated by someone they trust and will have a hard time realizing what is happening. ESFPs are upfront people and often take everything for face value. They are not skeptical of others, simply because they are laid-back individuals. ESFPs dislike getting caught up on the negatives in life, and because of this, they are much less skeptical. ESFPs want to enjoy life and prefer to live in the present moment. This desire to soak up the present can cause the ESFP to become blind to the manipulation going on around them.